I should have made a Mickey Mouse soap for you.
Yeah?
I do that kind of thing.
Possible?
It's my job though.
Okay. Hi everybody and welcome to I Am Significant. I missed you guys so much. The whole fact that I couldn't say, all these days, welcome to I Am Significant. So I don't know how much you guys missed me, but I did. And so you're wondering that, okay, the new whole setup and a little chilled out atmosphere, what is it all about? It is the second season of I Am Significant. Yes, second season. When our company and the team, we started with I Am Significant and the first season, the first episode, we had no clue where we were going. It was just a platform we were giving to women entrepreneurs so that they feel special, they feel that they are significant, and we actually had no roadmap. We were just going. But when the first season got over, everybody was like, "Okay, when are you guys starting?" And we got so much love, so much appreciation, and everybody went gaga over the first season that we thought that, okay, let's start. We are getting so much love as a team, as a production house, as an anchor. So here we are with the second season. The first season we spoke about women and their the path that they took, the family problems, their finances, how they managed everything. So it was kind of like the first notch, you know. This season we'll go like a notch higher. So we'll talk about the procedures. Yeah, difficult, heavy, yeah, okay. So the procedure, how they make the stuff that they make, okay, and couple of other things. One of that is self-actualization, the word I learned only yesterday. So we will unravel it slowly, and I'm going to learn more of it slowly with my guests and with you. And couple of other things as well, which no, actually, you know what? Let's just talk to the guest. I can't keep her waiting. She is Priya Jain, who is a soap maker. Yeah, that's a very different field. Yes, a soap maker. Let's welcome Priya Jain. Hi, Priya.
Hi, Ahana. That was a really lovely introduction.
Everybody sees that. Okay, so give me like a very brief. No, give the viewers a very brief introduction to you.
So I didn't really study to be a soap maker, which is what the typical pattern of most young people is. We finish our graduation in a certain field. Of course, the trend is changing over the last couple of years, but when I was studying, let's say for instance, I studied to be a journalist. So I went and lived that dream for about 6 to 7 years. And then there was always this thing, when people would ask me, what are you going to do when you grow up? Always knew I would get into business eventually, but there was no clarity on what I'm going to do, like, so when you're in your early 20s, you're just like, I'm doing this job and it's really something that I'm enjoying, but what is it that is my destiny? You're always wondering. And then suddenly I stumbled upon the world of handmade soaps one day, and there's been literally no looking back. I learned how to make soap. I made soap. I experimented a lot. I still experiment a lot. And yeah, today I am a soap maker, which is exciting, but it's another dream I'm living. So I think that way, if you look at it, I've really had a very small bucket list, but it's a good thing to know that you've kicked most of it off. Like you've ticked most of it off, not kicked. Sorry.
Okay, so let me also tell the viewers that Mishi Crafts.
Yes.
Did I say it correctly?
Yes.
All right. So Mishi Crafts, that's her company. I don't know if you can see it, but it's the lovely soaps she made. It smells of vanilla, and so this started because of her niece. It's named after her, and yeah. So we can go directly into the procedure of how you make a soap. Yeah.
Okay.
So tell us.
So there's, I'll give you a quick crash course right now because there's no other way to do this. There's no, I could tell you the long format, but I think a little bit of it has also been short. So there are two ways of doing this. There's one which is a very simple combination of caustic soda, also called lye, sodium hydroxide. These are the names of the same thing. Mix that with water, mix that with oil. That's it. That's soap. It's as simple as that.
If you can NaCl by any chance?
It's NaOH, sodium hydroxide. So if you can cook, if you can make tea, you can make soap. It's that simple. And from the time I've started, I've always been telling people, make soap, because End of day, what you're putting on your skin and you're putting it every day, some people do it twice. It's very important to know what goes into the composition of the ingredients, right? Like, we never even think about it. It's so easy to go to a supermarket, buy something, and use it, but we don't really think of the long term repercussions. A lot of people complain about sensitive skin, dry skin, but there are solutions right there in your kitchen. Like, it's that simple. So, one of the procedures is, of course, using the three ingredients that I mentioned. Those are the three main things. People, of course, add in a lot of essential oils. So the soap I made it with a red clay, which is a French red clay. So it's kind of imported by a dealer in Delhi, and then he sends it across for me. So there's a lot of things that can go into a soap. You know, you can make it with anything that you remember from your childhood. I can tell you it can be converted into a soap, and I can tell you the procedure to do it. If you're talking haldi and doodh, milk and turmeric,
Yeah.
which is the most popular thing, every mother has fed it to their child. If you didn't have that, you were a very lucky child. Also, your mom probably didn't know the easiest solutions
Yeah.
that are in tradition, right? So you can make it with any additives that you want. You can, I mean, there's a whole world out there that you can explore in terms of soap making. Now, that is the most basic way of doing it. Then there's a more complicated way of doing it. You would have seen designer soaps.
Yes.
There have been a lot of popular brands that would come out with like really highly fragrant soaps. So that's another level that you give to your soap making. Then there's an easier procedure for people who find the idea of lye very scary. So lye is like the only dangerous component in the beginning of soap making.
Okay.
After that, it's all easy to go. There's nothing that'll harm you in any way and stuff. But so the other easier procedure is using glycerin.
Hmm.
So that there's no harm. I mean, except if you drop the hot solution on your body, then of course that goes again. I go back to the tea example. If you're going to make hot tea and you pour it on
Pour it.
yourself, you're still going to get burned. So it's not beyond that. The degree of risk that you have in making soap is not more than the degree of risk you run in making a cup of tea. So these two commonly used procedures for soap making. And yeah, well, you need like a regular, maybe a bunch of spoons, a blender, and you're set.
So if we can just start the whole procedure, because I think the video is probably running.
Okay.
So how do you start?
So what you do is you need to have exact measurements.
Okay.
That is the one thing that can actually potentially damage your soap in no way, in no other way. So when I say you have to have exact measurements, you need to know what oils you're using.
Okay.
So today, like what I used was palm oil.
Okay.
Which is again, it's very debatable. It's a highly
Yeah,
controversial
correct.
topic, but then it's very very good for skin. So you know, it's one of the soap makers' favorite oils because it gives you good soaps. It gives you very very nice on the feel area, very good on the skin. Also, it's easily available. You can get it at a local supermarket. You don't have to go hunting for special oils. Everything else that you add in can be a little difficult to find. So palm, coconut, sesame oil, these are all easy to find oils. You can use them for soap making. Also, so what I've used today was basically palmolin. Then I added caustic soda into the water, and these have to be in exact measurements. If you, I think I used 56 grams of caustic soda with 150 grams of water. I'm guessing. I don't really remember the exact measurements, and 400 grams of oil. So that gave us a nice half a kg batch of soap, and so there's a bit of mixing, blending, all of that. I didn't use a blender today because we wanted it a little slow. I didn't want it to suddenly become soap, and then you're like, okay, we don't have enough to go with. So I added a red clay, a bunch of red clay into it, like a couple of teaspoons, and peppermint oil, peppermint essential oil.
Okay.
So it's like a nice, refreshing bath for somebody with oily skin.
So that becomes hard.
That will set over the
Okay.
next 24 hours.
Okay.
So then you unmold it. Like what I used today were the molds to give
All
that
right,
little
yes.
design element, and just generally it's more attractive. Especially if I mean, this soap was not for children, but if you make soaps for children, they really like the different colors, designs. For them, it has to be a fun thing, right? A lot
But
of
it's the
children-
same components.
The three things that you use, what changes is the oils you use, what changes are the ingredients you use. So if let's say instead of water I'd used milk, or I'd compensated some of the water with milk, then you come up with a milk soap. So milk and lavender is an excellent combination for babies. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I think the video, you guys would be probably seeing the video while we are talking to Priya. Priya, what does value mean to you?
Value in terms of life, in terms
In
of
terms of
business.
life.
I think we spend too much time in figuring things like what is valuable, what gives value, how. I think what we all fail to realize is that what is valuable today. Like when I say valuable, I don't really mean in terms of the costing or the pricing or like we all want a car, we all want a house, we all want all of that. Now that is a part of the valuable things that we all own and have. I think when you talk about values, what would really be very highly placed in that arena for me would be being ethical. I think, be it people you deal with in terms of business, be it your own relationships, if you're not being even, I won't even say 100% honest. That's just a lie. That's anybody saying we're 100% honest is just lying. That's the biggest lie, actually. But let's say what would be a value would be what you bring to the table, not speaking about business at all. In a normal interaction, it depends on how you deal with people you meet, what you value really in your life. Like if it's a very vague question, by the way, yeah?
I know. Yeah.
Just saying. What I would value the most is probably family, a few relationships that I have with people. If we're talking about what are my values, it would be being ethical, being as honest as possible in the business. It's not always possible, but being as honest as possible. I think being transparent is very important to me. So when you first called and said, "Can you make a soap?" I didn't really hesitate because it's not rocket science. It's basic science. We learned it in our 5th grade. If so my core set of values would be somewhere there. Be transparent, be ethical, be funny, be normal.
Okay, so when you say that it's not rocket science and it's easy, so would you also recommend other women entrepreneurs out there to probably try? And did you try it because it was easy, or you just tried it?
Oh, when I tried it, it was very difficult. I would never call it easy. 5 years ago, had you asked me how easy soap making, I would have said, "Yaar, kuch nahi samajh mein aa raha." It's so difficult when you're starting. But thankfully now there's so much information. So when I started, Googling things wasn't so common. We were
Correct,
still the
yes.
I mean, I'm not saying 5 years ago we were that dumb, but I'm just saying I didn't know also there was no unlimited internet. There was very, very limited internet. Very few families still had like unlimited Wi-Fi and things like that. And I grew up with 2 elder brothers, which means my internet time was very limited. It was non-existent. Okay, so whatever I've got in terms of knowledge, say about 5 to 7 years ago, was all my own. I read in a book, I studied a bit, I did Google a lot of information, I won't deny it, but it always sounds scary. Especially for a new person, if you're talking to me about should other people try to make soap, yes, most certainly. Because it's the simplest thing you can replace in your life. If you're somebody, and I know a lot of women who cook 7-course meals at home, and they say, "Oh, we'll make soap, it's so much work." It's not, it's really not a lot of work. I think we finished under 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I made a half kg soap which will last me easily 6 months in under 30 minutes. So, in 6 months, if you can't give 30 minutes of your time to make something that's going to improve your skin by, I don't know, many fold, it's really sad. I mean, that's tragic. That's worse than cooking a biryani for people, honestly, because that gets over in 30 minutes, right? I mean, I'm just
Wow.
saying. So, yes, I would encourage more people to come forward and try it. And of course, in the video, you can see that I'm not really wearing any kind of safety equipment. I'm not wearing like goggles and a mask and all of that. I recommend it usually. I tell people to wear gloves, stay away from the light and all of that, only because it's potentially dangerous. If you have a dog at home, if you have little children who are very naughty at home, don't. Give it a break or send them to school and then start doing it. But otherwise, no reason for you not to make your own soap. It's very easy. I mean, what's stopping you really other than the idea that you can't do it? I think it's all.
Okay, so what is that one thing that you have and others don't? I would say other women entrepreneurs don't. That one thing, that one quality.
I don't know. I wouldn't know how to answer that honestly because it's not something. I mean, I know a lot of fabulous women out there fighting their own fights, and I mean, every single thing is such a big fight, right? I mean, I don't know. As a business person, what's different? I think the fact that I'm very forthcoming with information. I don't believe in secret recipes. I don't believe in any of that. I don't think there is anything that's.
So my next question probably would have been that one secret tip. So
one secret tip: if your heart is not in it, don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to make very lousy soap with the same recipe I used. If your heart is not in it, I am somebody who really believes in going by the gut feel. If you don't feel passionate about the cup of tea you're making, and you can check that on a daily basis, it's not going to taste very good. I make very dull, insipid tea on days that I'm very stressed out. I can tell you that. I make really fabulous tea on some days, and some days it's just crap, like just really lousy tea. So, it's if your heart isn't in it, don't do it. Be it anything, be it a job, be it a. I mean, I know not everybody is lucky enough to find the job that they always wanted or the business that they always wanted to create. When I started, I didn't know where this would go. I didn't know I would be sitting here answering questions like this one day. I really didn't. But does it help to have a passion? Most certainly. Does it always succeed? No. Definitely not. But I always say this to people: even if I shut Mushy Crafts down one day, I'm still going to be making soap till the end of time, because that is something that's very very me. It's growing up, I was fascinated by it. I figured the recipe even before I heard of Google. Like, I was 16 when I first asked a cousin if he knows where I can get this material after doing a bit of research. By reading soap boxes alone at like
Yeah.
a grocery store, not because of Google, not because of the internet. So, if you have your curiosity, it'll eventually lead to it. So, I think I was 27 when I walked away from my job, and I remember this cousin meeting me and saying, "Didn't you ask me like almost 12 years ago about this?" And I said, "Yes." So, that he remembered was very touching, but because he's a very old cousin of mine. Like, we probably have 20 years between us.
Okay.
So I mean,
So
he's
yeah.
he's he's much older than I am, and but I really believe that if you don't have the passion for something, if it's not something that you feel you can, if you can live without it, it's not probably your passion. Like, and it's okay. It's okay to go do a job that you don't really enjoy. It's okay to really make soap on a day that you're not feeling very good about it. But will you be able to sustain it over a year? No, you're just killing yourself every day inside doing something that you don't enjoy anymore. So I think people need to know where to draw that line. What is the secret? There is only one secret sauce, and that's the passion you have. Nothing else. Nothing else works. You can be without money, you can be without ingredients and still make soap, which is the most fascinating thing, right? So yeah, I think
Okay.
it's all about how much you want to put into
Want
it.
to put it
Yeah,
into
yeah.
it. You also make lip balms. I
Yes.
saw very cute pink lip balms on her
Container, yeah,
Facebook
yeah.
page, like nice little small dabbas. And you also make chocolates.
Yes,
So
and
they are
I,
like,
I, I mean, I have the whole bath range going now. So I
okay.
also make bath salts, body butters, and I very grudgingly make shampoos. My heart isn't in it. Honestly, it isn't in it. There's a lot of things that you need to know before shampoo making, which I think I'm still a novice at. I haven't really learned how to make it too well. I guess I need to study more. But yeah, other than that, I have a whole range of bath products. I have chocolates. Chocolates was a great passion. It's really funny why I started making chocolates. I started making it for my brother. So he is someone who really enjoys eating. He used to enjoy. I think now he's done with it. I think I've done that to my entire family. They just hate it now. So what's really started to happen is I made chocolates for him, and then I had a team at office. When I used to work with a news channel, so I would carry out like a bunch of chocolates for them every time I made a batch, and they all started loving it. And literally, my first order came because a teammate insisted that I accept money for the soaps I was giving him. Actually, not chocolates, but that is how it led to things. One thing led to another, and I realized, okay, this is something I really like doing. That look on a person's face.
Yeah.
I recently made a Taj Mahal out of chocolate. Should have seen her face when I gave it to her. She ordered it for her boyfriend. She had no clue how it's going to look. It was made of white chocolate, and it's a proper replica of the Taj Mahal. Not so great, obviously. Those architects did a much better job than I ever will. But it's just that split second. No camera in the world catches that. But it's beautiful to see something like that. So yeah, that's
Okay.
that's the whole range of things I do. I used to also make candles, but I kind of
Yeah, like there's no passion there
no.
now.
If you start something at 14, by the time you're like twice that age, you get a little bored of it. Yeah, so that happened, but it's not like I'm averse to doing it. I do it very rarely now. Don't really make much.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does honor mean to you?
Honor.
Yeah.
Wow, these are really deep questions.
Yeah, see, I told you that season 2 is going to be different. It's not going to be
The usual.
yeah, the usual season 1 questions. So, what does honor mean to you?
What does honor mean to you? I think it's a lot of unsaid code. It's a lot of unsaid code, right? Like, but then it depends on what every person thinks of it. Like for me, I wouldn't honor, say, I mean, when I say I wouldn't honor, I mean I probably think somebody who. So if it's a relationship, if you're talking about relationships, what would I honor the most in the relationship would be truth.
Mm. Okay.
I won't say honesty, just the truth. It could be anything. It could be at an emotional level, it could be at a physical level, it could be anything. So I really, really prefer knowing. I don't like games. I don't like people playing. When I say that, I don't mean in romantic relationships
Okay,
alone.
yeah.
So there's a lot of dynamics that we all go through every day, right? So I really think that when you are honest, at least half the way, not truth. I don't want to know the absolute truths about things, but I would definitely want to know some things in terms of business dealings, in terms of your relationships. I think I value that a lot. Okay, I've used value and honor both. Full points for me. No, but I think that's where I see things. Yeah, if you are somebody who's so there's a lot of thing that happens in any job. Like you can take the example of a job, a family, a business. There's a lot of backbiting that happens. So this used to happen quite a bit. Um, Wherever, whatever the
Correct.
situation, you always hear somebody say something about someone, and I think that's kind of dishonorable. Like, rehne do na. Focus on your game. Honor and all is good, but focus on your game, and you will eventually see that things pan out in a good way. It may not be exactly what you hope for, but it'll usually turn out to be good. I mean, that's at least I've been lucky that way. So it's not really like um, I think I don't believe in like major karma and all. I think it's speeded up quite a bit. So now it's not really about long term plans. Ki, oh,
Okay.
you did this to me today, it's gonna come back to you 20 years later. No, it's fine.
So has it so happened that any friend or relative has spoken or has not approved of Rishi Crafts and or the products?
So the family that I have, like my immediate family, loves it. Obviously, we've named it after like
Yeah.
the grandchild, and I mean my dad especially. I would more talk about him because so with my dad, he's so passionate about what I do, and I think I get the creative streak from him because he would fashion out little pens with bamboo. So we used to live near a lake when I was a kid, and there would be all these bamboo stems that had fallen. So also my family is very into being not harming anything. Like so, there's that whole Jain belief, no, you don't touch anything
Correct.
if it unless it's yours and stuff. Add that too, the fact that we never even pluck a fruit. We don't pluck a leaf. Like the Diwali puja, you need those mango leaves. We are very we're so regretfully even going and getting that. You know, like we're a very frugal family that way. So we would go for a walk around the lake, and there would be all these bamboo stems, like little things that have fallen. So my dad would fashion out little pens, attach a nib to it, and it would be a working pen. So this is one of my earliest memories from childhood of how creative my dad was. Even now, like if there's any problem I'm stuck at, if there's anything that I'm not able to figure out, he's the first one I go to usually. So he's like my to if I were to give it a fancy business title, he's like my chief creative director, chief executive officer because he takes care of everything, and he's got this knack for attention to detail that most of us don't have. I think our generation is the most flighty. We can't pay attention to anything more than 5 minutes. So he is somebody who will think about it for a few minutes, and if that doesn't work, he'll think about it for a few hours. He may sit upon it for weeks, but he'll come back with a solution. So he's like my first go-to person. Then there's my brother. So essentially, the whole business was an experiment on his daughter when she was 2 months old. That takes a lot away from a new father, you know. Like if I'm saying use this on your little baby, I mean that's really brave. So both my brother and sister-in-law, they're very actively involved in business. We're kind of working on two brands together now. So there's mine, there's theirs. So we do a lot of collaborations, we do a lot of exhibitions together. There's a lot of work that happens together. So immediate family has been very encouraging, of course. When you talk about the external family or external, there's always people who will say no. No matter what you do, I could be the president tomorrow and they'll say, "Ye kyun kiya?" So you take it the way you want. I mean, if my core is very strong, then there is nobody that can stop me. And thankfully for me, I've always had very fantastic friends who've friends, family, you name it. Like they've always been very encouraging. They've always like my brother literally set up my website the day I gave him my first soap, and I was like, that's way too much pressure on me right now. I remember having this conversation. The baby was sleeping in the room, and we were sitting outside, and he's like, "What do we name it? What do we name it?" And you know, he's just sitting there with his laptop, and I'm like, "Name it anything. I don't care. Just use the crafts with a K." I don't know why I wanted that either, honestly. But then we figured Mishika fits in really nicely, and she is like my daughter as well. So I think it all came together very well. And if others have something to say, that's
वो तो
really their
बोलेंगे
problem.
ही हाँ.
Like I said, focus on your game. Everything else will sort itself out.
So this
So
is
for
one thing that I'm cutting, but this is one thing that all the guests they have said that family, friends, immediate family, spouse, parents, they are actually the pillars of strength for all these ladies. Without them, things would have been probably difficult. Not that they wouldn't have been able to made it. I remember last season someone actually said that वो नहीं होते तो भी मैं कर लेती. It's fine. But then these are the pillars of strength, so make them happy.
And I'll be honest about something else also. It's not like it was welcome, no? ऐसा नहीं है कि बेटा तुमने साबुन बनाया. No. There was no celebration right at the beginning. There was of course a lot of criticism because see, none of the things, especially when you're initially setting up, and you want to do all these fancy things, right? Like use olive oil, for instance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the most popular oil. If you read online, mostly it's blogs by foreigners, by people who are very easily able to access expensive oils. So my first big bill that I created with my supplies thing was about 10,000, and I remember my mom saying, "What is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? You've already ruined 3-4 batches of soap." She wasn't wrong. I had ruined quite a bit of soap. There was like soap lying around all over my house, and she was like, "Why? Why are you wasting your hard-earned salary?" And because I was working really hard as well, she's like, "Why are you wasting it on stuff that you don't even know if it's going to be useful?" So there was resistance, most certainly. Everybody was a little skeptical in the beginning, but what I'm essentially trying to focus on is whatever you do, okay, if you drink regular masala chai, tell your husband, father, whoever to switch over to green tea one day. You will hear, क्या है दिमाग खराब हो गया, हमें healthy नहीं बनना है. That is your first reaction. All of us are very resistant to change. If you tell me, Priya, get up from here and sit there, I'm like, why? Why are you doing this to me? So it's a very normal process of everybody who's going through that, and I get this from a lot of women. My husband doesn't approve, my father doesn't approve, my brother doesn't approve. Whatever, you're living in a shared space, and obviously it matters. But when you really see that you made it work, like anything that you do will go through a bit of experimentation in the beginning. Don't lose heart. If you are the one that's saying, "Oh yeah, they are right," then they are right. You're making them right. But if you stick on and have limited, don't waste your resources. Just because you're drawing a 1 lakh salary doesn't mean you put 90 into a hobby. Clearly you have to somewhere draw that balance, because end of day you are answerable to people you live with. But having said that, if you have the passion, they will eventually see it. ऐसा नहीं है कि Indian parents or Indian families or Indian friends are the worst of the lot. They're actually very good people. Everybody individually is a great person. So we've just got to find the fine tuning the balance is a little difficult initially, but it's not impossible. That's what I've seen in a lot of cases. Yeah.
Okay.
You're gonna throw me another intense question. I can tell from your expression now.
Okay, I'm going to play a game with you, but the first question, according to me, is very intense because somebody would have asked me that. I don't know how I would have answered, but
I'm going to do that right after the camera switch off.
Okay, so very quick, but little fun games.
See, if it's fun, no, it's usually like not great for the guest.
Okay, except for the first question, huh? Okay. So the first question to you is, okay, God forbid, but if a natural calamity affects your workspace, which is your house, but your workspace, natural calamity affects your workspace, how will you deal with that? And whether you're going to start like building it from scratch, how are you going to deal with that?
How much time do you have on this question?
30 seconds.
Okay, I have a little story to tell you. I quit my job because I bagged my first corporate order. And I thought I will have enough to tide me over for the next 6 months once I get my payment. My payment didn't come in. When I walked out of my job after the notice period was over, it was like a national calamity. It had stuck. I had like less than 10,000 bucks in my bank balance. So what I'm essentially trying to say is everything is a tragedy, really. The fact that we're breathing can be a tragedy. Provided you're willing to pick up your pieces, I think you can do it anytime, no matter what happens. It'll take a little while. Yes, definitely. If I don't have a house to live in anymore, because that's where I work out of, it's going to be a bigger tragedy than losing my business, because obviously I need to eat and sleep. But I think we'll rebuild it. We'll rebuild it. It's not going to die. Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be slow, definitely. It'll be depressing for a bit, but I think as humans we have this great penchant for
Hmm.
happiness. You know, if we tap into it, I think that's good enough.
Okay. Um, Fun question coming up.
Yeah,
Okay.
natural calamity. It's fun. Okay.
No, but that was like okay.
It's
I
like
told
the
you
Bollywood dictionary.
except for the first question, right?
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay. So if I give you two tickets, which unfortunately I'm not giving you, but like right now, if I give you two tickets to watch your favorite movie,
Mhm.
which movie that would be, and who would you take?
Who would I take? There's actually two movies. The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That's one. Um, the other one is this really. I don't know if it's a very popular movie, but it's called The Art of Getting By. It's got life lessons in its first half. Like
Okay.
you watch that movie when you're even remotely moody or remotely sad, it changes your life. It changes your perspective. Who would I take? I don't know. My dad. Yeah, I think he needs to just be with me, not for work, which is what has happened of late. But yeah, and it's so he's a very emotional person. I think he would really cry buckets, and I'd be like, stop crying. But it's the kind of movie I want him to really watch and enjoy, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, understand that it's okay. Things don't go your way, and it's fine. Yeah,
Okay. So, do you listen to a lot of Hindi tracks?
a lot of them, yes, insanely lots of them. Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised that didn't you take Hindi films names? I would have been really happy.
No, Hindi film though I can't restrict with one movie at all. There is
Acha.
Amar Prem. If you
Oh.
really want me to answer that, I can. It's mostly the classics from the early. There's Amar Prem, which I really, really love. It's got fabulous music. All the Devanand movies. I mean, I can watch them on loop. There have been days when I watched Guide, Prem Pujari, and one more movie on the same day.
Oh, so
I love it when there's like a Devanand thing going
a
on.
lot of
any of these
Navketan
channels.
film
I don't know the
happening.
directors. I don't know the music director. I
No,
don't know
no,
any
no,
of
it
that.
is. It's the Devanand's production house, Navketan Films.
I'm a big fan of Amitabh Bachchan. So, yeah.
Okay, I have company. Yes. So, which is favorite movie? Your favorite movie of Mr. Bachchan?
Mr. Bachchan. Oh, so difficult. So, I like the underdogs usually, which means I pick the movies which are not the most popular ones. I really like this movie called Nishabd that released a few years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, with Jia
Yes,
Khan.
Jia, yes.
I really liked it. I thought it was making a point in a real way, but I think it wasn't a great. I mean, it wasn't a very popular movie, but
Of course. Yes.
I really like Nishabd. Other than that, there's his usual movies. Yeah, I can't pick a favorite. There's so many. I like Sharabi. I like Diwar. I like. I'm not able to remember the names. I could probably tell you dialogues. Which is the movie Kabhi Kabhi Gana jo hai.
It's Kabhi Kabhi.
Kabhi Kabhi, right?
हाँ,
Yeah,
हाँ.
I like that movie.
Okay,
I
a
like all
dialogue
the
from the
movies.
movie, a dialogue of Mr. Bachchan.
I have a song on loop right now. Yeah, remember this
Is it?
album called AB Baby
Oh,
that
yeah, like
released?
I'm-
Yeah, the Kabhi Kabhi song.
Ah.
It's actually my ringtone right now.
Oh,
so
wow, okay.
I am a big fan. When I say I'm a big fan, I'm a big fan.
One dialogue, madam. One
Dialogue?
Yeah, please.
Kabhi Kabhi. Hey, I'm very bad at
It's
this
okay.
kind of
Just
stuff. Yeah.
go ahead. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. One song.
Song too, I'm not singing. You heard my voice for so much time now. No.
But that was the next question. Sing a song.
No way. I wouldn't do it in my bathroom. I would do it in
Oh
front of
God.
two cameras looking at me. What is wrong with you?
Please don't get conscious. You know, it's just one song.
I'm not conscious. I mean, but you do want to retain an audience, right?
Oh, that's okay. They are good people there. It's okay. And you
No,
know-
there's going to be no song. I can always tell you a dialogue if that
Okay.
is more interesting. कभी कभी मेरे दिल में ये ख्याल आता है कि जिंदगी तेरी जुल्फों की नरम छाँव में गुजर नहीं पाती तो शायद हो भी सकती थी. You made me so conscious. It's not fair. Probably blushing in like 10 years or something. Like
Oh, that's actually cool because I really thought that you would sing and not say the dialogue.
no,
but
I
you just
would
went the
never
other
sing.
way.
I mean, I have a voice that is good. Let me talk. Let me not sing. It's good for singing.
Alright, in the beginning of the whole episode 1 of I Am Significant season 2, you said you spoke about dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I give you this paper and
Okay.
this marker
Wow.
and tell you one dream that you have not lived and you would want to live, apart from soap making,
That I lived.
journalism,
Lived.
lip balm making, chocolate making, everything else.
No, no, अब making का हो गया मेरा
अच्छा,
dream.
okay,
अभी
हाँ.
नहीं नहीं. Actually, this will also be related to making only. But
But one thing, maybe fishing.
No, poor fish. I'm an animal lover. I don't want to kill fish.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot she's a Jain.
No, but besides that, I think that
Huh.
became a choice after a certain age. It's just my last name now. But no, animal cruelty, no.
Huh, ठीक है. So
Don't
that
want to
one
sort of-
dream, that you would want to write.
I'd like a big house full of. Oh, I'm supposed to just write it?
Yeah. Like one dream that you have not lived and you would want to live, want to do
Okay. Wow.
before you
that's-
die.
Are you going to grant me the dream? That's like not one dream. This is too restricted. I can't really say big
तो
house
कुछ-
and a world
कुछ-
travel.
हाँ तो if you feel like writing that, do that. And while she writes that, I have to do something. So, so this is the soap that she made in the morning for us.
Oh, that's got goat milk, by the way. It doesn't have a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually love goat milk. Okay, that will really suits my skin. But and
Yeah, I took a guess. I was like, you probably have dry skin. Let me give you this. Okay.
Wow.
Here's my
All
dream.
right, what's that? Let me just.
Travel the world and have a big house with dogs.
All right, so
And cats and other animals. But we'll go with dogs for now.
okay, so it's travel the world and have a big house with dogs and cats. I can't see that.
I
And
didn't write
cats
it.
and
Cats are more like a.
Huh, so it's like it will add up.
They kind of
Yeah.
break my heart all the time, but I could write that.
They have no feelings. I feel
No,
like
no,
you write
I had
that.
a really nice cat, and then she got catnapped, in front of me by a neighbor. Yeah, that kind
Wow.
of tragedies have happened in my life.
How nice neighbors do you have?
Thankfully, I moved out of that location,
Oh.
but it happened.
Good for you.
Yeah.
All right, so we have this. It's going to be put up on the board because I can't get up right now. Bean bags, yes. So it's going to be put up on the board, and you're going to see that in episode 2 of season 2. I said that in one breath. Good. All right. So thank you so much, Priya, for
Thank
coming, and it was really fun talking to you. And thank you for the goat milk products. So thank you so much.
Thank
and
you. It
yes.
was a pleasure being here.
you.
Thanks.
So until next time, I shall see you guys in episode 2 of season 2. Okay. All right. See you. Bye.